Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Patters, and today I'm going to take you through my top 5 Elite Four members. Now, I know there's not as many Elite Four members as there were gym leaders or anything of that, but there are 20 Elite Four members. And it should be pretty easy to separate them into a top 5 and a, all the rest of them list, right? Well, we're going to go through that right now. And of course, as always, this is totally opinion-based. You do have to agree with mine, and you can, of course, always post your own comments as what your top 5 Elite Four members, or maybe just your favorite Elite Four member, is in the comment section below. So, without further ado, we're going to move on to number 5 in the top 5 Elite Four members list. So, coming in at number 5, we have Aaron, the Bug-type user of Generation 4 in the Sinnoh League. And the reason I've chosen Aaron is because he really shows how powerful the Bug-type can be. And up until then, Bug-type, it wasn't really a threatening type, and it wasn't really much to, it wasn't really much to talk about, because we had Bugsy in Generation 2, and while he was quite strong, he was the second gym leader. And we all know that's not very high up, it's not the best he can be, and it's not very powerful. And once we get a Bug-type Elite Four member, that's showing, like, the Bug-type's moving up in the world. And, Bug-type might not be my favorite type, but actually, I'm quite happy it got some recognition in Generation 4. It's about time that it did, because if we look at his teams, and we're going to look at all the teams, we see that he has some pretty powerful Pokemon there. In Diamond and Pearl, he has a Dustox, Heracross, Vespiquen, Beautifly, and Drapion. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name, I apologize. And in Platinum, he has a Yanmega, Heracross, Vespiquen, Scizor, and Drapion, whatever. And when you look at those teams, especially in Platinum, like, that is a really powerful team. And up until then, like I said before, Bug-type's not really much. But now, like, when you look at it, it's like, wow, that's actually really strong. Maybe Bug-types can actually do something. And I'm really glad that they finally got their chance to shine in Generation 4. It may have took a little while, but that is why Aaron is on my top 5 Elite Four members at number 5. And next we're going to move on to number 4, so let's go! Okay, so coming in at number 4 on the list is going to be Lorelei, and once again, pronunciations escape me, so I have to apologize if that was said wrong. But anyway, we're going to talk about a little bit about Lorelei. So, she is the first Elite Four member that you ever face, as, providing you did start with the Generation 1 games. A lot of people started with Generation 2 and 3 and 4 and stuff like that, but Generation 1, she was actually the first Elite Four member, and she had a bit of an odd type. Like, in Generation 1, there weren't that many Ice types, and even though there weren't that many Ice types, she had a very varied team. She had the most varied team of all the Elite Four members in Generation 1, with all the Pokemon being actual different Pokemon. If you look at the other teams of the Generation 1 Elite Four members, they at least have, one repeating Pokemon, and some of them have, like, Pokemon in the same evolution line and things like that. And I think it was pretty cool that the first one had at least the most varied team. And yeah, so Lorelei was pretty cool. You don't really know what to expect when going into the Elite Four the first time. And I think she was a pretty good start, to be completely honest. She wasn't really a pushover in that Lapras and the Jinx, real powerhouses right there. So Lorelei was a pretty good start to the Elite Fours in Pokemon, really, because she was the first one. Repeating myself a little bit there, sorry about that. Which is why Lorelei gets my number 4 spot on the top Elite Four members. She doesn't really improve after the Sevii Islands in Fire Red Leaf Green, but that's fine. She already did her job. She does get a Piloswine added to her team. But I think she has a pretty solid team right there, and I don't really think there's any need to improve it much more. So, yeah, Lorelei is number 4 on the top Elite Four members, for my list anyway. And we're going to move on to number 3. Coming in at number 3 on the list is going to be Grimsley of the Unnovan Elite Four, which is kind of surprising to me, because I didn't like Gen 5 all that much, even though I kind of sound like I'm jumping on the bandwagon a bit there, and I didn't like how the Elite Four in Gen 5 was set out. I didn't like how you could choose anyone you wanted to go to. I mean, that is a cool feature, I guess, but I also didn't like how they only had 4 Pokemon to start off with. That was kind of crappy. I think that was only in Black and White, though. That may not be the case in Black and White, too. Anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about Grimsley. Grimsley's design is actually pretty cool, and his team is so cool. Like, for only having Gen 5 Pokemon in Black and White, he made a pretty decent team of Scrafty, Crocodile, Liepard, and Bisharp. Even though they had a glaring weakness to Fighting type, it was still an awesome team he had there. And he was pretty much a big challenge for me to face when I got there. Like, all the others were sort of iffy. Maybe Marshall gave a bit of a challenge, but I feel like Grimsley gave a big challenge in the Elite Four, and it only gets better in black and white too with his teams, as you can see on the screen right now. His teams are pretty awesome, and I always find the Dark type was a really cool type, and I'm kind of upset they don't have a gym of that yet. Maybe in Gen 6 we'll see a Dark type gym, but right now we haven't got one. We have had a couple Elite Four members that are Dark type, which is always nice to see, and yeah, so the Dark type, big thumbs up, and Grimsley is number 3 on the list for top 5 Elite Four members. Okay, so claiming the number 2 spot for top 5 Elite Four members is going to be Koga, and I picked Koga for several reasons. First reason, because he was a gym leader and he ascended up into Elite Four status, and now that's a big jump, and that's like the best promotion you could possibly hope for in terms of being a gym leader. Like, wow, awesome. And secondly, because he is a poison type user. And I know people might be thinking, oh, well, Agatha's a poison type user, you know, why not got Agatha? Agatha's meant to be a ghost type user. I'm just gonna say it. Agatha's meant to be a ghost type user, but because Gen 1 only had one ghost type line, they could only, you know, they didn't have really much to work with there. Anyway, let's talk about Koga. Koga. He has a pretty awesome team. He has a lot of type differences and stuff like that, and the fact that it has a Crobat just puts him up even bit more, because Crobat's one of my favorite Pokemon, alongside Darkrai and Arcanine, and I just think he's a pretty awesome guy in general. He's a freaking ninja. He's a ninja, and I think the poison type should deserve a little bit more recognition, you know? It's only super effective against one type, being grass, and fucking everything's super effective against grass. Like, I really hope that poison type is super effective against fairy. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed or anything yet, but that's what the leaks have been saying. I'm sorry if I just spoiled that for you, but I really hope that that is true, and we can see poison type playing a little bit more of a role in sort of offensive instead of defensive, because that's what poison type mostly is at the moment, and I feel like Crobat is a shining example of how amazing the poison type can be, and how amazing it should be, really. So, yeah, next thing, number 1 spot, who's it gonna be? So, claiming the number 1 spot for top 5 Elite Four members is going to be Lance the Dragon Master. I'm sure a few of you saw this coming when there wasn't a Dragon user on this list, and technically he is the champion in Generation 2, but I still see him as an Elite Four member. Like, when he was the champion in Generation 2, I didn't really see him as a champion, more just like another challenge, just another Elite Four member. He doesn't really seem like the kind of person who would be a champion, but he's still a pretty awesome Elite Four member. And if you look at his team, like, his team is pretty awesome. He has Aerodactyl, he has Dragonite, Gyarados, Kingdra, all those guys, at least in Generation 3 he has. And I just think he's awesome all the way around. Like, his design is great, he's the Dragon Master, he's the last Elite Four member you faced in the first games. And I really can't find any faults in him, apart from the fact that there isn't enough Dragon types in the first generation. Why would they do that? Why would they have only one Dragon type, along with only one Ghost type? Like, it doesn't really make sense to only have one line of each type if you're going to introduce the type. It seems like kind of a waste of time, and I wish they added more into that. But, you know, it was made 17 years ago, something like that, so I can't really complain about that now. There's plenty of Dragon types to go around, and yes, so Lance is the number 1 Elite Four member, at least on my list. So, what's your list? Tell me in the comment section below who you think the best Elite Four members are, and I will see you guys next time, so thank you very much for watching.